Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, wrestling fans, and sports entertainment fans, welcome to the No Shave Man Cave. I'm Ellie Jair.
I am Jay Tilly.
Man, I'm
Dude,
smiling ear to ear. I am jacked to the nines. And I'm back home, and I did not hate this show last night. Probably because I haven't been able to sit down and watch wrestling with just the vigor that I enjoy. And man, I really I enjoyed the show. There was some confusing stuff, which I'm sure we'll go through. But what did you think, man?
uh, it was okay. You
Yeah,
must have enjoyed it because it's been a while. Because
yeah,
I thought this one was a little rough to get through.
okay,
There was some promos that got lost in the shuffle. There was some just terrible babyface booking on some stuff, and
yeah.
it was a very bland, boring. Other than the main event, which is fantastic, I didn't really enjoy much more about this. So,
Hmm.
and yeah, I think the fact that you hadn't watched wrestling in like almost a week. By the way,
Yeah.
welcome back, man. Like it's good to have you
Thank you.
back.
Yeah. So to the peeps, to the fam, to everyone, haven't really talked much about it. However, we're family here, and we're gonna get through this together. My Mrs. Ellie Jair, Tiff, is dealing with cancer, and she went through the surgery, made it through. She's a trooper, and just a matter of time before we're able to bring her back home from the hospital. And she was able to get up and shower and do some stuff today. And so, shout out to Dr. Awad over there at UF. Go Gators, and the whole crew over there. Wanda and Tammy are her nurses, so super cool. And hell yeah, glad we're on this side of that, and we'll chronicle what occurs. So any chance you get to rep a little purple for pancreatic cancer, I'm with you. Bam.
Yeah, man. Hold your loved ones close because you never know. You know, it's
Yeah, it's a trip.
I've been telling the fans you just have personal stuff going on. I figured it's your story to tell, just like we talk about on our mental health day. But good to
Yeah,
have you
appreciate
back,
it,
man.
brother.
Yeah, man. But
Good
it's
to be
good to
back.
have you back. And I know you, and I know how much you love wrestling, and wrestling is important to you. So when we talked outside of the podcast, and you were talking about how you haven't even watched wrestling yet, I'm like, ooh, you must be hurting.
Yeah,
And
it
then
was
you have these
tough.
glowing reviews for this one. I'm like, oof, he's really hurting.
It wasn't the Monday after WrestleMania.
That's true. If that's the bar we're using, that is 100% accurate. It was not that piece of
Yeah,
garbage.
yeah.
But I think one of my biggest concerns about Raw, and I don't even think it's just Raw. Well, I guess it is. I guess AEW and WWE are having an issue, is crowds. So the crowd was dead. Even like the promos and stuff with Becky and all that, it was just quiet. You got a little bit of a what chant, and that was about it. Even the Cody promo, even the whoa wasn't as loud as it was. And then you look at that, and then you look at kind of what AEW is going through right now with not selling ticket sales, not having ticket sales, and it's like, what's going on with North America wrestling and fans? Like, because I know and you know from when we looked at going to Raw here, those tickets aren't cheap, and to just go and kind of sit there quiet and almost look bored is a little like what's going on. And they got up and got loud and were standing on their feet during the main event. But it's KO and Sammy and Gunther and Ludwig. Of course, it's going to be a good match.
Yeah.
But you also had um, Chad Gable and Eric, which was decent. You had the Bronson Reed Ricochet match, which was fantastic, and
Oof, dude, that was
silence.
awesome.
The Cody
Yeah,
Miz match, little out in the beginning, and then it kind of fell off.
yeah.
So it's just,
Really,
and I go ahead.
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I
No,
just
like I just thought at the beginning, when Rhea came out, they were into it. They were feeling it. The title got presented. Dominic grabbed the mic, and it was pretty loud. I was like, okay, we're gonna be good. And the only other time that there was any like significant volume was when they were singing Seth Rollins' song, and it wasn't that they were loud. It was just everybody was participating.
It was so annoying.
And yeah, and that's what cut the Gable Eric match, because that was supposed to go like 3 more minutes or something. But so they had to get all their stuff in quick and send it home. So that was, but yeah, that title, when they presented Rhea with her new title, I was like, okay, all right, I like it. And congratulations to the NBA champion Denver Nuggets. They got their custom championship title today, which is the old WWE one. So we'll see if, down the road, if they give them an option, hey, do you want the world title or the undisputed? So, but I like the title. The design has kind of grown on me, but you are spot on. Like, usually the woe in Cody's portion, it's live, it's loud, and I don't know, man. You're spot on though. There's something. Is there something in the water in the concessions? They put melatonin or something in everybody's stuff.
Yeah, it's bizarre, and and Cody cut a Cody promo, and they got a little loud, and we got some reactions from that and the Miz stuff. But the Becky promo I thought was interesting because I almost think that's why she was stumbling on her words, because they were quiet and she was kind of waiting for a reaction on stuff and not getting it. And then she kind of got all tongue-tied and lost where she was going, which is not something she does. Usually she's on it. She's good. She knows what she's talking about and is good at delivering those lines. Now, could it be that at the last minute they gave her a different script? Yeah, that could be it too. I don't know. But definitely was interesting. And she lost her way in that promo. And then Zoe Starks kind of lost her way in that promo. And then the promo didn't make much sense anywhere about, the most powerful person is the champion, but that's not true. It's the one who holds. No, the most powerful person is still the champion. Like, you've just got to beat the champion. So, yeah, I just thought this Raw was kind of, it was okay. The in-ring action from the Miz and Cody, I thought was decent. I'm not as high on the Miz as you are. I think he's, to take some words from MJF, very mid. I don't think he's great. But Cody can pull a good match out of anybody. And so I enjoyed that match. And then the whole thing with Dominic, that dude, the booze that man gets. And I know we're totally going out of order here, but I'm trying to remember it as we're talking about it. I liked when he comes to the ring and he grabs the belt like he owned it. Like, whoa, I won the belt. Oh, wait, no, this is yours. And he puts it around. And then I also like the mommy chants. She's my mommy. I was like, oh, no. She is so over.
It's crazy. And, there was a part in there, we were talking about the Becky Lynch promo. So she gets a little tongue-tied. She talks about how she's frustrated. That's why she's tongue-tied. Zoe tries to contribute, but she isn't that strong on the mic, maybe, or maybe I was just being too critical. And then all of a sudden you get Sonya and Chelsea come out, and you look in the background, and the match is ending, and Zoe is standing. She's on a ladder.
Yeah.
And I was like, were you there the whole time? And it just, and I started laughing. And my brother Clint is here from Arizona, huge Cardinals fan. We broke the news to him. Arizona's probably going to have the worst record in the NFL. And I'm sitting there laughing. He's like, what's so funny? I was like, well, I'm sure a little bit later on you'll get a good Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn promo, and Kevin will lose it, or he'll say something about, your finger. It's literally right in my face. It's very distracting.
I can see it.
And sure enough, Kevin pulls a Kevin, and that piece of business I thought was awesome. But Chelsea Green, she played a good part in the show. The match got the job done, and I'm I'm really, really interested in both of the Money in the Bank matches. And something I read yesterday about this year's Money in the Bank. This is the first time in the history of the Money in the Bank where there wasn't a participant who has previously won the world title. So
Oh,
this is like
interesting.
the epitome of what we've been talking about. Like, make someone
Right.
through, the Royal Rumble and through Money in the Bank. And I'm really excited. I think one of the outliers or the longest odds is probably Butch. I think the superstar with the greatest odds, me personally, I would say LA Knight, but I think based on the trend, could absolutely be Damian Priest.
See,
So
I think LA Knight, because I think they're gonna put Priest in a program with Gunther, just because of the little interaction they had. Now I think Gunther's gonna do probably a program with Riddle first, but I could see Priest coming, not getting Money in the Bank, and then maybe going after that Intercontinental title down the road.
wow,
Just the way they kind of looked at each other coming out, and he kind of hesitated, and I think we're on the verge of a face turn for Priest, and yeah, I
really?
think so.
I'm yeah, I'll pay a lot more attention. I
Oh,
thought
that's, yeah,
I wasn't.
you haven't really watched. So did you
Yeah,
watch last
so
Monday?
like I did, but I was like semi distracted because we were, doing the final prep for surgery and everything, and I watched it, and I guess I just saw like the heat between Finn and Damien,
Yep,
and then
that's right. We reviewed it, so I know you
um,
watched it.
yeah, and then you have, now all of a sudden you have Damian Priest is in Money in the Bank. You have Dominic going against Cody Rhodes, and Finn Balor against Rollins for the World Championship. And what version are we gonna get? So you're probably gonna get the Demon,
Yep.
and I think for the most part, I think minus one time, I think he's lost every time he's brought out the Demon. So I don't know, what.
Which is
I
crazy
get it's
because
this.
he was undefeated as the Demon in NXT, and then they brought him to the main roster, and Finn's like, nah, whatever. We're just gonna squash that.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, I just because he's doing the babyface things, like, oh, I'm gonna go out there by myself. I'm gonna shake
yeah.
Rollins' hand when I'm done. So I think and I think they're gonna end up kicking him out of the Judgment Day, and they're gonna bring JD McDonough in because you had that little promo with them Monday night, and then now you've set him up to be a good guy to go against the bad guy Gunther, or whoever they decide to put him into. I would like to
Wow.
see Priest beat Rollins personally. I think that would be great. And then having Priest and I'm sorry, I'd like to see Finn beat Rollins, and then have a nice little feud between Priest
Ooh.
and
Ooh.
and Balor would be great. But you
Or
know,
there.
go ahead, go. And you can
Yeah,
tell we're rusty.
yeah, I think there's going to be something in there where somebody costs somebody. So I would think the Money in the Bank, either the men's or the women's, would open, and if it's the men's, then the world title will probably be second to last because you'll have the main event of whatever Roman's going to do, and Priest costs Finn the title, even though he's trying to help, air quotes, or Finn costs Priest the Money in the Bank because he's trying to, air quotes, help.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, yeah, this is, I'm really excited about the Money in the Bank. I think that'll be a lot of fun. I am jury's out on how the match will be with Dominic and Cody. I'm sure Cody can have a 5-star match and do all the work, but I don't want it to look like Dominic's just completely getting ragdolled. But, and I don't know how you feel about this, but I think Brock will cost Cody this match. And that's
So
what will lead to SummerSlam. And they'll have the freaking
Rumor is a bull rope
cowbell match or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
So
What'd you call it?
the bull rope
Bull rope.
match.
There we go.
Yeah.
Cowbell.
They're just gonna
Saturday Night
bring
Live
the
skit.
cowbells. I need more cowbell. I could see it going that way. The other thing I could see is Rhea getting involved, and then you got Brandy Rhodes coming out. So it could go two different ways here. Because I thought about the
Okay.
Brock Lesnar thing, but I think you get Rhea getting involved, and then Brandy comes out and this ain't open night, Mike, bitch, and then gets involved and kind of set up a little program down the road. Because I don't know what Brock's status is right now, because he's kind of the part timer. But speaking of Rhea, so everybody in the Judgment Day has a match at Money in the Bank, except for the one person in the Judgment Day that's a champion, which is Rhea. And I'm just like, really? And the other thing that caught my eye, and just, I don't know, man, it just goes into the whole thing about how they just don't know how to book women or treat women the same as men, is Triple H does this big, massive presenting of the belt to Seth, and this big, massive presenting of the belt to Roman, and then they have Pierce do the women, which is fine, but he's not a big a star as Triple H, who everybody knows is the booker and the guy in charge ish. So, like, already you're demeaning them with, oh, it's not as important for me to come out there, it's just the women. I was like, that's kind of crappy, man. And it bothers me, because you look at stuff like Stardom, where these women are just killing themselves and doing great stuff, and the women, when they're on TV, and whether it's AEW or WWE, seem to get very limited time, do their stuff, get out. It's a shame. I just book them like they book the men. Don't look at them as women, just look at them as other wrestlers.
Yeah, I didn't even, now that we're sitting there talking about it, it didn't even register, and that's how poorly they've done the new titles when they've had a couple of opportunities after a match to present them with a new championship. And now that you're saying it out loud, not that it's going to demean one title or the other. You have Rhea Ripley, who's the WWE Women's World Champion, and then you have Asuka, who is the WWE Undisputed Women's Champion for their respective shows. But I think I definitely think in hindsight, Tripp should have absolutely presented those titles, because he did it. He did it with the men's titles, and everybody's, they're all champions, so I don't think it should have been. Yeah, so that's a good,
and I
that's
just
a
think
strong
it's a shame
point.
that she doesn't have a match. Like, she's probably one of the most over women right now, and for her not to have a match at Money in the Bank is just kind of like, wow, why not? Why would you not have her in a match ready to go?
Yeah, there's got to be something cooking. I think you'll have, what is it, Bianca, Charlotte, and Asuka in a three-way, and then, I mean, I don't know who's a dominant presence, because she squashed Natalya. Zelina is on Fridays. Sonya and Chelsea haven't gotten a win, so they wouldn't be credible. Raquel Rodriguez maybe, but they haven't built her, to be in a story at all. So, that's an interesting one to have a champion. Although Roman doesn't defend his title very much, but yeah.
Well, I mean, and that's what leads me into the thinking they're going to get something with Brandy Rhodes, because we don't have her do anything. She'll come out with Dom, and she'll start interfering. Maybe the whole match she's interfering, because I kind of want Cody to go in and just basically make this a squash, but she keeps interfering, so it's not a squash. And then you get, Brandy Rhodes just has enough. Maybe she's at ringside and jumps the barrier. I don't know, but I think that'd be the way to go, and why not? That'd be a good way, and it'd probably be a huge pop, and then now you've also got her in there, so we can start building eventually heel Cody, because when he was with her, and boy, they did some good heel work together.
Man, when she would flop, and then the opponent would, babyface, oh, I'm so sorry, and then you'd see the out of the corner of her eye and the big smile. You're like, oh, you
Yeah.
got him,
Yeah, there was a classic
man.
one where she did that to I think it was either Kenny Omega and Ibushi and Cody. Yeah, I think it was their three-way. And she did the flop and Kenny and Ibushi were like, "Oh, are you okay?" And Cody just jumps out and jumps him and then she springs up like nothing happened and they're like, "Oh, that snake and blah blah blah." So, yeah, she does a good heel character for sure. Um, but I think if they want to bring her in right now, I think this would be a way to do it. You could set up a SummerSlam match between, you've got Cody and Brandy versus Rhea and Dom Dom, which would be good because Rhea would probably be able to carry Brandy a little bit. I mean, she's not the greatest in the ring,
Mhm.
so she could carry her and make it look good, and then he could do the same thing with Dom. So you'd actually probably have a really good match out of that. Again,
And
if Brock
it'd
doesn't
be a
show up.
good story. Yeah, if Brock doesn't show up. Yeah, and plus it'll be a good story too because you've got the couple, and Brandy was tired of the interference and she came to even things out and blah blah blah. So yeah, and I'm not. I think Brandy's kind of small too, isn't she?
She
Kind
is.
of petite. Yeah.
Yep.
So that it would be whatever. But I think yeah, that'd be that. I think that would be a lot of fun. So
Oh, Rhea throwing
what
her
did
around
you?
would be great.
Yeah. What'd you think about? Yeah, and then like for some reason Cody can't get to. Well, that might be like a replay of the Edge, Beth Phoenix, but some think, but it does involve Rhea again.
Mm-hmm.
I've done this before. I've smashed Hall of Famers. What's
Yep.
you know the American
What's
Nightmare's
Cody's
wife or
wife?
whatever.
Don't even
But
name her. Like, what's Cody's wife got at anything?
yeah,
Yep.
dang. What'd you think of What'd you think of the action with the Damian Priest Matt Riddle match?
Oh, it was good. I was happy it ended clean too.
Yeah,
I thought for sure we were gonna get interference or something like that. So, and that leads more into that whole Priest becoming a babyface. But yeah, I thought the ring work was great. Again, like I said, it's a shame the crowd didn't think so, or if they did, they were told to be quiet. I don't know. Um,
hope not.
but yeah, that match was tight. And there was both of them are good workers, so very crisp. Yeah, I thought it was a good match. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I loved the aerial action that Riddle was putting in. I liked how Priest was sort of protecting his big guy image and staying on the ground. And, they got their moves in. And like you, I'm glad it ended clean. And, a little bit later when Finn came out, you were like, oh man, this dude has had it.
Mm,
And, before he came out to the ring, he was like, I'm going to go out there and nobody interfere. And then he mean mugs Finn. And I
yeah.
was like, whoo. And a
And then
little
Finn
bit
kind of
later,
glares at him as he walks away.
yeah. And then Dom and Rhea look over at Finn, you all right? Oh, I've just got a lot on my mind right now. I was like, ooh. So I thought the promo with Finn and Seth was really good because something that the WWE likes to do to us is they like us to forget.
Yeah.
But this go around, Seth kept bringing things up about the past and, um, about shouldering the load, talking about his shoulder. And little later on, he was like, what version of Finn am I going to get? This is the Finn I've wanted to see, since what was it, 2017 or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is going to be this has the potential, and not just because it's Seth and Finn, but this has the potential to be the match of the night. And it seems like the last few pay-per-views we've been sitting here going, oh, the tag team match or the women's match or whatever. But this is going to be the match for the world title, and I really believe that they're both going to come out and deliver. So I'm excited to see them mix it up again, and how they're going to build it over the next couple of weeks. I think will be a lot of fun for the WWE universe. So.
Yeah, I agree. Even last week he was hitting him with the, you know, you only held the title for less than 24 hours and this and that. And I'm just like, oof, man, that's dirty because you're the one who injured him. So
Yeah. Too
it'll
soon.
be,
Too soon.
yeah, too soon, buddy, too soon. But yeah, I agree. It's one of the rare instances where they're flashing back to something and you're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not forgetting about that, storyline that Finn Balor is seemingly forgot for years. And then, oh, yeah, wait. Oh, hold on now. You have a title now. I'm mad at you for that.
Yeah.
Because I want to say they partnered up recently too, like a year ago or something. So it's just like whatever. They want us to forget everything between the injury and now.
Right. And then a shirt that I need to get my dirty hands on. Freaking Cody Rhodes comes out with the new T-shirt of his. It's a flaming American Nightmare logo.
Yeah, it's nice looking.
Whew, the only thing that would have made it better is if it would have been somehow like a white flame or some kind of red, white, and blue flame or whatever, because it's the American Nightmare. But I thought that T-shirt was awesome. I hopped on the WWE shop, and it wasn't there. I was like, I would have thought they have this on TV because the shirt is available, and I'm gonna have to keep checking back. But yeah, I dug the shirt. I thought that was pretty sharp, and I don't know if the Natalia piece or the promo is what's gonna lead up to Rhea's match at Money in the Bank, or because Natalia comes out and she gives this like sort of open-ended, confused promo about she doesn't know anymore. You're like, yeah, I don't know either. I don't know what you're talking about. And then she just disappears. I'm like, okay, well, you have a good day now. So maybe she gets repackaged, comes back. Now she's a heel, and who flips to face to sort of fill that gap. I don't know that it really matters as much because of the storylines and stuff right now for the women's division, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, maybe she's gonna become heel. I don't know. Yeah, it is weird.
Yeah.
They have that shirt on Fanatics, by the way.
Boom, coming at you, Fanatics.
Yep. I was thinking that WWE Shop and them partnered, and I was like, let me see what's on Fanatics. It's on there right now. So I was just curious when you said it. I'm like, I'm gonna leave this up because I think I'm gonna order one too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just
and then you get another classic, and we sort of alluded to this a little bit earlier. Another classic, Kevin Owens temper tantrum.
Oh man, these are great.
Man. It gets better every week, and for me, I haven't been able to sit down and watch wrestling and like really enjoy it. It was just sort of like almost like background, and I'm sitting there with my brother, and he knows like big names, and he knows a few other names, but he doesn't know a whole lot. So I basically did the play-by-play and explained, hey, here's what happened with this and here's what happened with that. Like when Dom and Rhea were leaving, Rhea accepted the challenge for Dom, but it was like she was like in between with the mic, or the mic wasn't working or whatever.
Right.
And then there was another scene, and I was like, yeah, so this was a mistake. And I don't like the term botch, but this was a mistake, probably what was supposed to happen. And, they probably were getting called back because they were starting to run long. And when they run long, that means that the matches get cut short. And then, dude, you get that promo with Finn and Seth, and God knows how long that went over with the fans, singing the song. But so we were going through everything, and when Natalia came on, he was like, what was that supposed to be? I was like, yeah, she's going to go find herself and come back repackaged in a different Natalia form and, whatever. And we were both in hysterics. And him knowing nothing about wrestling, we were both in hysterics during the Kevin Owens part. And kudos to the WWE for the Bloodline and for letting Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn be as quirky and funny as they are, considering how much experience they have. And I was, man, I was feeling it. Dig that. You know who the second best moonsault in professional wrestling is?
Other than Io Sky and Tiffany Stratton.
So Tiffany Stratton is dating Ludwig Kaiser.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I was um, but yeah, so we get Kevin Owens. He he pulls another beauty out, and they set up a match, and the match was, I thought the match was really good.
Oh
But
yeah.
the match right after that promo, someone that I can't get enough of, and that's Ricochet. They laid it out, and Mr. Nice Guy Bronson Reed, forget about it. They earned their check last
Yep.
night, and I hope the fans went home happy with that match, even though it probably didn't end the way um, Ricochet wanted. When
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean they didn't sound happy during the match, but I understand what you mean. But what's interesting to me is if we're going to set up a three-way match between them, well, it's not going to be at Money in the Bank because Money in the Bank, you've got Ricochet and Shinsuke are in it, the Money in the Bank match, and Bronson's not. So is he going to end up coming out and costing those two?
uh,
He's going to come out and interfere and
I
cost
hope
those
not.
two, and set up a three-way. And are we going to stretch this out all the way to SummerSlam, or is it going to be like they're just going to blow it off on Raw sometime? But
Mm.
I think it'll be great. I think it'll be a great triple threat when they do it. Big guy versus two small guys is going to be a fun dynamic. And Bronson Reed, is a big dude, but he can fly around a little bit too. And
Yeah.
so it'll be interesting to see that match for sure. And I'd like to see Shinsuke win the match, but the ladder match, but I think it's going to be LA Knight personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I
like
think
it.
LA Knight's going to win the Money in the Bank.
Oh man, I just hope he doesn't try and cash it in for the IC or the US title.
Ugh.
It was brought up on. Did I hear it on the bump? I heard it on one of the shows. Like, yeah, and if they want to win the Intercontinental or the United States, they can do that too. When I thought originally it was to challenge for the world title, but I mean, whatever title everybody wants to get, I get it. I like the U.S. titles. I think they're really cool. The Intercontinental title, great lineage. Most everybody who's won a lot of, in previous forms, most people who won the Intercontinental title were the next ones to carry the World Championship. So, it'll be interesting to see. And, what do you think about with the way the women's Money in the Bank is laid out now? So you have Io Sky, Zelina, Becky, Zoe, and oh my goodness, I'm drawing a blank. The Hugger.
Bailey.
She used to be the Hugger. Bailey. So you have basically Bailey and Io Sky could end up like
Falling out and-
muting each other.
Yep.
Zelina, I don't know how she's going to play in, and then Becky is going to get distracted with Zoe, which with that conversation going on, Zelina ends up winning the Money in the Bank.
Yeah,
And
I
you're
can
like,
see that.
Oh, okay, yeah, because you didn't give her her backlash moment at home. Now you're going to give her a moment at Money in the Bank, and now she's going to carry Money in the Bank around. Or you have Becky win it, who's a European in Europe. The pop that would get,
Yeah.
shoo. So
Or Io Sky. I think Io Sky wins it.
if Io, I think it's time for Io. Man, yeah. So
Do you
so
see
now
the,
you have sorry, go ahead.
Did you see the clip I posted on Twitter with Io Sky versus Pentagon Black when he was Pentagon Black in Lucha Underground? Man,
I
those
think
two
I saw.
beat the hell out of
Yeah,
each other.
yeah,
And I was
yeah,
like, it came up on my feed. I'm like, oh my god, I forgot that Io Sky was in Lucha Underground too.
yeah.
I miss
That's
Lucha
awesome.
Underground.
Lucha, lucha. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I loved how the announcer would talk about where they are and the camera angles, and yeah, I thought it was freaking awesome.
Yep.
Okay, so the Money in the Bank, the men's Money in the Bank, you've got Santos Escobar,
Mm-hmm.
you've got LA Knight, yeah, Ricochet, you have Shinsuke, you have Butch, and you have Damian Priest. Wow,
Yeah,
that
I
is
think,
solid.
man, I think you made a good point with Priest, but I still think it's gonna be LA Knight.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be LA Knight. I don't think maybe he comes and challenges Rollins. Because if you put him up against Roman, he's not going to win, and everybody knows he's not going to win. So, and you're not going to take Roman's title off him with a surprise cash in. I don't think. Well, yeah, you're not. I know WWE. They're not. You're not going to get
Yeah.
at the end of a grueling match, somebody cashes in on Roman. So, whoever wins it, I think is going to end up going after Rollins. So that being the thought, probably going to go to Priest then. Would be my guess.
Yeah, I mean, you figure. Do you think the WWE wants to keep the undisputed title on Roman to beat out Hogan's numbers? Because that's like 14 and some change. So this would be basically next year's WrestleMania. Is
I do. I think he keeps
when,
it till next year's WrestleMania.
wow.
I do. I really do. I think he's going to keep it all the way to WrestleMania, if not all the way to SummerSlam, because I think he needs to keep it to SummerSlam to beat Hogan, like officially beat Hogan. Because I think we did the math, and I think if he does it, if he loses it at WrestleMania, he's like 100 days short or
Oh, that's
60
true.
days
Okay,
short
yeah.
or something like that. So I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if he keeps it all the way to SummerSlam next year and beats Hogan. And I can see him
Jeez,
wanting
that's
to
a
beat
long
Hogan
time.
just because of all the controversy behind Hogan right now.
Right.
If they want to erase his name from the record book, they could, or not erase it, but move him down for sure.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, that's a long time, man. It's crazy.
Modernizing the record books is it's interesting business. I mean, you figure you're looking at who's selling merch. You know, they're the ones T-shirt looks great. The T-shirt with Roman Reigns and Heyman with the tie looks great. The God Mode one is looks pretty good too. So, the Roman's selling merch. Everybody's acknowledging him and just exploding whenever he comes on. That intro is pretty legit. That's pretty good. That's up the and I recently I've been paying a little more attention to the intros, and Orange Cassidy's intro when the first key of his music hits, it goes bonkers. MJF sets the place off.
Yeah.
I think everybody's just on pins and needles waiting to hear what the Acclaim is going to do. Cody Rhodes, when he comes out, and I'm really, really looking forward to when the New Day come back, because that entrance is a lot of fun. NWA they don't play music when their wrestlers come to the ring, and the studio recording for Impact is much different. So you don't really get the feel, because there's maybe 500 people at their recordings, unless they do a pay-per-view and it's a couple thousand, which that's the market that they want to be in. So I like what they're doing with the intros, and I'm gauging everything on some of these crowds that we've seen, and maybe it's not fair, but as loud as it was for Backlash, as loud as they can generally get for Dominic Mysterio, and I don't want piped in music, but they've got to do something with some of these crowds where it's, they're just sitting on their hands. I'm not saying like have applause buttons up, or applause lights, like how we have our on air, they'll put applause. You're like, no. So,
Yeah, I mean, not every crowd has to be San Diego for Dynamite, which was
Right.
on fire. But like, I'd rather see more of those than the crowds were the Jacksonville. That was another example of it.
That was embarrassing.
Yeah, yeah, and especially because we've been to events here and we know we can get loud. I almost want to go to a live WWE event now just to be like, okay, are they telling people to be quiet? Like, we haven't heard rumors
Right.
about that or anything, but it's just bizarre to me that nobody. Like, is it that boring to go to one live that you're just kind of like, this is kind of dull?
Yeah.
But
I wonder what we're missing out on besides the commentary. Because, like, from what I remember, the WWE shows, you get the backstage segments on the screen, so it's not like you're just sitting there waiting as the wrestlers, or superstars are making their way to the ring. But yeah, I'd be kind of bummed out if they're being told, hey, everybody sit on your hands. And I know for a little while they were like no signs, but then they lightened up on it, and some of the superstars are making a point, Cody specifically, to make sure everybody, he's interacting with as many fans as possible, signing stuff, as much as he can. I thought that was really cool. A couple nights ago, that I think it was Trish and Natalia. Natalia was signing stuff ringside. I thought that was pretty cool. And then Cody last night, when he was leaving the ring, he signed his belt that he gave that kid as he was walking up. So super cool. And I agree. They're, with some of these crowds, you grab that lightning in a bottle. That the San Diego crowd was live, so awesome, and made that show, which was already going to be a great show, just because of the wrestlers and the card and the sequencing of the matches and everything made so much sense.
Yep.
And so, yeah, man.
Yeah, they've got to figure out what's causing, and it's not just a WWE problem too. Because look at Double or Nothing in Las Vegas, like coming across, watching it on TV, you're like, oh my gosh. And you used to always talk about the crowd, and I used to always be like, roll my eyes, like, oh geez, who cares about the crowd? But now that they're being quiet, I'm starting to go, oh, now I understand.
Yeah.
Like, especially, and it really hit me with Double or Nothing because I'm used to those loud AEW crowds. So I'm watching
Crazy
Double or Nothing,
crowds.
which was a good show, and I'm like, I'm not enjoying this as much. What's going on? And then it's like, oh man, the crowd's just not into this. They were up for some of it and not the rest. It was just like, wow. So, yeah, crowds are a big deal, and they need to make sure that they're doing what they can to keep them loud. But I'm with you. Don't pipe in the sounds. Like, make it organic and true, and it should be on the bookers to book it to where you have an emotional investment, which I think is some of the stuff that WWE is missing, because I can look at the 5 hours of television, not including NXT, that they do on TV, and there is maybe 3-4 superstars or storylines I care about, which is not a lot when you're filling out 5 hours of TV. That's, if they each have 2 segments, that's what, 10 segments, if that. So I just, there's just not a lot of emotional investment in anything really outside of the bloodline. Even the KO and Imperium stuff, I'm not like emotionally invested in the storyline as much as I just love KO and Sammy and their interactions together. You know?
I think you're right. Yeah.
And
yeah, I think
because
you're right.
they could do that
That's
with
funny.
anybody. Like, you could put the Viking Raiders against them, and they're gonna make jokes, and it's gonna be entertaining. The Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, I'm into that. Like, that's good stuff. But that's one of those programs. Yes, it's been going on since he injured his arm, technically, if you wanted to pretend. But realistically, it's something they could have started now, and they could stretch that out for a few months. But I have a feeling it's going to be over at Money in the Bank, and that's going to be it. So we'll see. But I think
Hmm.
that's one of the issues is there's no emotional investment in the characters or what's going on. So you're just watching wrestling to watch wrestling. There's
Yeah.
no I'm I'm cheering for this because it's my local sports team. I'm watching it. You know what it's like? It's like if I were watching a Dolphins game, I'd cheer for the Dolphins. Loud, get upset when they don't win, get excited when they're winning. But if I'm watching the 49ers and the Cardinals just because you brought them up, I'm going to sit there and watch it, but I'm not cheering because I don't have any ties or emotional investment in it. And I think, that's part of the booking. And then that's a little bit on, well, it's mostly booking. If you book it so people care about it, they're going to cheer about it. So, but that's my opinion. My two
Oh
cents
yeah,
worth.
no, that's a good point. I mean, like we're programmed to sit down in front of our TV and watch Monday night, watch Wednesday night. Not programmed for Wednesday as much yet, but I think eventually it will. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that Saturday becomes that too.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you're looking at 3, 5, 7. You're already 9 hours in if you're watching NXT, AEW, and Monday Night Raw. You watch SmackDown, you're like, all right, I'm into my weekend, and now Saturday, you're like, oof, and it's what 9 to 11 or something like that,
Yeah.
or 10 to 12. That could be a tough time slot, and I don't really buy into ratings as much because of how
Yeah.
like I'll watch some stuff on my phone, my laptop, a tablet, whatever, and then I do watch some stuff on my TV, but it'll be I really hope that they really grab us and just bring it and deliver a solid show. And this is a challenge out to the Chicago crowd. Don't just cheer for damn CM Punk. Bring the energy. You're going to be at the maiden voyage of Collision, and bring it and show every other crowd, hey, this is how you deliver energy to AEW Collision, and that will hopefully set the tone. And then Triple H and the boys in the back will be watching and going, well, wait a minute, challenge accepted, and they show up
Mm-hmm.
in they're in Iowa on Friday and Missouri, I think, on Monday, and they'll go out and hopefully burn the house down and have a great time. So I'm optimistic, but yeah,
A
bring
lot of,
those
lot of
damn
wrestling.
crowds, people.
You didn't even hit TNA, MLW, uh,
Oh man, MLW with their new TV deal. Let's go.
yeah, NWA. Like there's more wrestling at New Japan, Ring of Honor. Like
Oh
there's
my God, yeah.
so much wrestling to consume right now.
Yeah.
It's definitely and it's getting easier and easier to find some of that other stuff. Like used to be you can only find WWE. You'd have to really tape swap to get some of the other stuff. Now with all the streaming and everything, you could watch New Japan anytime you want. You can watch Ring of Honor whenever you want. You can find MLW on YouTube. It's got its own YouTube channel. You can watch Stardom. They do a lot of their stuff on YouTube now. It's a little delayed, but you can watch it. So
Yeah.
there's plenty of places to watch wrestling. So to make an impact, uh, no pun intended, on a
I was
show,
gonna say what?
to make a collision with the fans, it's gonna have to be big. And Saturday, I think it's 8 to 10 is the official time slot.
Okay.
Uh, you're right though. That's a tough time slot because you're talking the weekend. So people are either out and about or families are doing things. Um, you're gonna have college football to contend with.
I was gonna say shit. I totally forgot. College football is gonna come around, and Saturday has been when WWE has been doing their pay-per-views,
Yep.
and so you're gonna have
UFC
college
fights.
football and damn UFC fights. Yeah. So you're gonna be sitting there watching your college game for however long, and get a couple bowls of loudmouth soup, and not really even be able to get into be into the game be into Collision because you're, a sheet and a half in. But yeah, I hope we pop up, get up, catch Collision. Maybe we watch it before football on Sundays, unless you're catching the international games. You'll have until 105 during the first 7 weeks of the season. So we'll see. We'll see what's up. So,
What?
so
And not to mention that, not to make this all about AEW, but Tony Khan does not have a great record for shows outside of Dynamite because Rampage has been okay and declining. The Battle of the Belts, big thing, and then it really never really was a big thing, other than pay-per-views and Dynamite. So I think that's part of some of this scare is I think people are a little concerned that okay, this is just going to be another Dynamite or another Rampage. I mean, and when I think it needs to be more like another Dynamite. Now, a soft roster split could help that because you're going to see Miro and Punk and FTR, and you're going to see some of those people that maybe you won't see on Dynamite all the time. However, it's still a new product, and yeah, he needs help for sure. So if Bryan Danielson really is going to start taking some of the booking, I think that's going to help a lot.
yeah, that'll be awesome. And I don't. When you met him at the River City WrestleCon, I'm not sure if you even had a minute to even ask him or if he would have any liberties to talk about it. But like you were always talking about, CM Punk has a really great wrestling mind. Bryan Danielson has been there and done that. He has wrestled in front of 50 people, in front of 50,000 plus. He's getting ready to wrestle in front of 70,000 at All In. So I think,
Dude, he's getting ready to wrestle Okada.
dude, dude,
It's like a wrestling wet dream for
is
me.
if that's so we've got a couple of matches of the year contenders. Both of them involve Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay. I just this is going to be a top 5, and kudos to the bookmakers and everyone for getting their egos out of the way. And I hope the finish is clean. And I almost don't even care who wins because this is going to be one for the ages. So Let's go.
Sorry. Back to WWE. We got a couple more minutes.
Yeah, so WWE, we continued on. The crowd was kind of bumping around. We had a great segment with Seth Rollins and Finn. Went a little long, which then hurt the Gable and Eric match. Gable gets the win after a really quick match. Could have been funnier, but we got what we got. And then you see JD McDonough and Finn Balor talking in the background. And this has sort of been playing along for a while. And man, I don't. You want to, and I might be looking at this in like a football thought, right? So I want, whatever quarterback on my team. And in return, I know I'm going to have to either give up a quarterback or a big name or something. And nothing against JD McDonough, but Damian Priest is like the golden boy right now. He can do no wrong with the match that he had with Bad Bunny, the work rate that he's been, putting in, the selling that he's been doing. And then you bring in JD McDonough, who was injured. He was on NXT. Nobody really knows him, so it's sort of confusing because you haven't really built up JD McDonough yet, and you have a proven commodity in Damian Priest. And you're like, okay. So I don't know. I don't want to shoot it down, but I think they're really gonna have to deliver something pretty significant with the JD McDonough rollout because that just does not seem like an even trade.
Yeah, but I think that's also what's leading into the Damian Priest turning face and leaving the Judgment Day anyway. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting. Yep,
Yeah.
I ain't got much more
And
to say
then
on
we
it.
get the main event.
What a match!
And whew, freaking Gunther, man. Those false finishes had my brother like hopping up. And I was like, "What was that?" He's like, "Oh, I thought the match was over." I was like, "That's a false finish, my friend." So that
Yeah,
I thought that was a great match, and the commentary I thought was really good. Kevin Patrick is starting to grow on me a little bit.
mm-hmm.
It was a little slow going. Um, I wanted to get to where I could just cut out Corey Graves, so that was the only voice I heard, but it wouldn't make any sense. But yeah, I thought the match was good, and man, couple of close ones, and Ludwig takes the L, and sort of could be a prelude to a program between Kevin Owens and Gunther. But I think, like what you were saying, Gunther in a program with Damian Priest as a good guy, that would
Yep.
be that would be
Yeah.
worth the price of admission right there.
Yeah, I think you're definitely setting up Riddle first because he had the run in. So I think you're setting up a Riddle Gunther first. But yeah, I think give it time. But I think you'll see Priest Intercontinental Championship run, and then that frees Gunther up to go after Rollins for the world title. And
That would
then
be
now you've got
awesome.
a monster of a heel as the world title. Whew. Man, because I think that's the trajectory Gunther's on personally. Or Walter, sorry. Or whatever he is. I forget what he goes by now.
Yeah,
Gunther.
Gunther now.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty good show. I mean, uh, pretty good as far as WWE standards go. It wasn't blow away great. I still missed that one show 3-4 weeks ago where I was like, oh man, they put a lot of thought into this because it's not happening anymore.
Yeah.
And that's disappointing. And I mean, there was some of the backstage stuff when Becky Lynch was walking. I was like, oh, what are we gonna get? And she's talking to KO and Sammy. I'm like, all right. And then you just see the Alpha Academy stretching, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that's it. Like,
She was
oh
just
man,
like,
yeah. I will say her looking at that going, oh, okay, that
yeah.
was funny. But overall, it was I don't know. I gave it 2.5. It wasn't blow away. It wasn't like your 2.5 for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I gave it
Beards.
3. I thought it was 3 beards. I thought it was a good show. I enjoyed how it moved some of the storylines along. It got you set up for Money in the Bank and presented and cleaned up the women's titles. So now we don't have to come in and go, dude, they did it again another week.
Hmm.
And, they didn't violate the draft rules this week. So that's a small
Oh
victory.
yeah,
So,
good point.
yeah.
I didn't even think about
Yeah.
that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
crazy.
Cool.
But they'll
Well,
probably mess it up on Friday with Seth Rollins being on Friday night. So
and he's gonna be on NXT, so he's going to take on Braun Breaker on NXT.
Braun Breaker.
Man,
All
how
right.
awesome would that be if Braun pulls a surprise and beats him?
Woo.
Oh, man, that would be so cool. That would be some inspired booking. Like what? Now that'd be really good stuff. Anyway, it is what it is. Well, glad you're back, man. Glad we got to sit down and do this. We may not get back to the full schedule we're doing, which is a podcast every day. However, we will at least try to stick to our Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays and get those out. If we can get some extra canned stuff in, we will. And I know y'all miss Ellie Jarrett and his little shorts and rants on YouTube. Eventually, we'll get back to those. But like he said earlier, we got a long road ahead of us. So he's got some hurdles to go through. But we appreciate everybody. You know where to find us. Anywhere you get your podcast from. Check us out. We talk about wrestling. No Shave Man Cave, Apple, Google, Amazon, wherever you listen to your podcast, give us a listen. Hit a subscribe. Download for free. It doesn't cost you anything, and you can always change your mind. Follow us on Rumble and YouTube. Same thing. Give us a subscribes and likes. Trick the algorithm into thinking we're really good. We appreciate it. Hit us up on Twitter, No Shave Man Cave. If you want to reach out to us and email us, it's noshavemancave@gmail.com. potentially, well, we'll talk about it when we know that's firm. I was gonna little hint that happened on WrestleCon, but we'll talk about that later. So, hey-o. But yeah, I appreciate everything, and haven't done this in a week or so. But hot tag out for the finisher.
Bump and feed, bump and feed. Like, share, subscribe. Keep loving and following the No Shave Man Cave, where you get all of your relatively important and awesome wrestling news. So, on behalf of JT, thank you so much for joining us here at the No Shave Man Cave. To all of our brothers and sisters in arms, we love you. Keep doing what you do. Thank you for your service. Some gave